Hello YouTube chess lovers and my friends, this is Gunjan here, and today we are going to learn how to defeat Accelerated Dragon. Now in recent years Accelerated Dragon become very popular, and it's one of the very interesting and dynamic Sicilian defense position. Now the system I'm going to show you against the Accelerated Dragon, which is kind of odd, and that's why it's very hard for your opponent to come out with exact move orders. Okay, let's start. So white will start with the move e4 and black will reply with the c5, and here I'm recommending knight to f3, and after black respond with knight to c6, here we will play knight to c3. Now the normal moves for the Accelerated Dragon is g6, but here comes a big shock for your opponent, because here we are not going to play d4 or going back to the main line of the Accelerated Dragon, but we will shock him with this move, which is h4. And now you can see the idea is very simple. We want to play h5 and embarrass the king side of the black. Let's see what happens if the Accelerated Dragon player carries out his routine moves. So for example, the routine moves here for the Accelerated Dragon player is bishop to g7. After that we will play h5, and if now knight f6, then here comes the blow, which is h6. And now you can see that bishop has no square except he has to go back, and once the bishop goes to the f8, not only it undevelop a piece, but it also create a long time problem for the black, and that means black king will remain in the center for a long time. And look at our pawn on h6, it's a big monster, so that is completely out of the question. So black cannot play its normal moves, so that means here black has to play this move, which is knight to f6. But here the lightning strikes from the different direction, because now we are going to shock him once again with this move, which is e5. Now at first sight it looks like it's not possible for white, because after knight to g4 attacking the pawn, if white defends the pawn with the queen to e2, then black can respond with the bishop to g7, and that means that pawn is a goner. But however, that's not white's idea. The white's main idea is when black plays knight to g4, white wants to play this move, which is h5. And now there are few reply over here for the black. Let's take the first one, which is but obvious one. Black will take the pawn. Why not? If knight g cross e5, then this will be the last time your opponent is going to take the pawn, because we have a very forcing sequence right now which give a plus position for white. Before we go on, if you pause the video and find out a winning sequence for the white. Okay, I hope you find out the winning sequence, and it runs like this. So white will play knight cross knight, and when black recapture the knight, white will play f4. Now you can see that knight has only one square, so when the knight goes back to c6, we'll play h cross g6, and now you can see the h pawn is right now pinned, so black has to forcefully capture with the f pawn, so f cross g6. And now I hope you find this move, which is bishop to d3. And how the hell on the earth black will defend that threat? The only logical reply looks like bishop to g7, but I wonder if you can spot an amazing move over here. Okay, the amazing move is rook takes h7, so it's a bombarding on the neighborhood. And if the rook takes rook, then we have this move, bishop takes g6, and not only white regain the piece, but black king will lose the castle rights, and also white will be a pawn up. So this will be a great game for the white. So that means knight cross e5 is not possible for the black. So that leads to only sensible reply, which is at this point black has to play bishop to g7 and ignoring the e pawn. But against this, white has a very cunning idea, and that start with the move knight to g5. And now you can see our white queen is attacking the black knight. Now here black has a few options. In the first option, if the black knight retrieve to the passive squares, then white has a very good reply with the move f4. And now you can see white has a very good center, and not only that, white has a tremendous pressure on the h file, and that will give great advantage to the white. In second option, if black knight takes the pawn, so for example knight g cross e5, then against this we have a very amazing move, which is h cross g6. And now if the f cross g6 or the knight cross g6, then that leads to the positional disaster for the black. That means white will have a great attack on the h file if the black king castle shot. So the most logical reply after the h cross g6 is to take with the h pawn. But here white will first exchange the pair of the rook. Rook takes rook and bishop takes rook. Here white will play f4. And now you can see that knight is trapped. It does not have any good squares. So the only good reply left for the black is to play f6. But after this, white will simply play knight to d4, and when the black knight goes to the only square, which is knight to f7, I give you a few seconds. Can you find an amazing move over here which can give a great advantage to the white? Okay, the move is queen to g4. And first sight it looks like it's not possible, because here black can win a piece by two different ways. Let's look at them each by turn. For example, our first move by the black will be very obvious f5, attacking the two pieces. But now white can simply capture the g6. If your opponent foolishly take the knight, then that leads to checkmate. So that's not possible. And another reply, which is here, if your opponent or the black play d5, then again white can capture the pawn, and after d cross e4, queen check, and the king goes to the d7, you can see not only white can regain the knight, but black king can hardly describe as a safe. And to give you an illustration, I can show you one of my own game which can give you an idea how dangerous this position is for the black. So in one of my game, my opponent played knight to b4, now attacking my c2 square, and not only that, it will fork my rook and the king. But here I played a very cunning move, which is I invite him to take the rook, and I played queen to c4. He just captured my pawn, and after I play king to d1, he captured my rook. And I give you a few seconds. Can you identify a sequence where you can get black queen over here? Okay, the move is first of all queen to d5 check, and now black has two options. If the king goes to the c7, then this will nab the queen immediately. So once the king moves, then we can get the queen. So that's the first option. And second option, the very obvious response is king to e8. But after this we have a very good move, which is bishop to b5 check. And now you can see if black foolishly play bishop to d7, then that leads to checkmate. So that's not possible. And if the king runs away to f8, we get the black queen. So see how much dangerous these positions are for second player. Okay, let's look at the last option, where here it is possible that black can play moves such as d6, trying to protect the knight with the bishop. But this is the most dangerous scenario for the black, because I give you a couple of seconds, try to find a very amazing move over here. Okay, the move is e6. So after e6, it will cut the communication of the knight and the bishop. That means our queen is again attacking the knight, and not only that, our two pieces are attacking the f7 square, and this is the disaster position of the black. So by playing this kind of cunning moves, not only white can trick the black in X-rated dragon, but in many lines, as I have demonstrated over here, you can get a very good positions, and there are many traps exist as well, and I give you guarantee many of your opponents will be fall into that. I hope now you will feel confident against the accelerated dragon. Best of luck for trying this system against your opponent, and feel free to comment on my video. I'll meet you soon. Bye.